Hello, my Teaserking family. Welcome. Happy Memorial Day tomorrow. Hope everybody's well, enjoying their Sunday and then their Monday. Daria seems to be okay in the hospital. I mean, the surgery was the hard part, so she's done with that. And I don't know, she must be sleeping, and I told her to put ice on her face. So she's, I got a good morning, but who knows? I mean, in the Russian hospital, anything's possible. All right. Big day in basketball yesterday. Minnesota, I don't know what they ended up winning. They were up 40 points in the third quarter. Safe to say they covered getting 2.5. That is how you bet basketball. It's really about life. Who needs it more? And OKC was up 2-0, but they played both games in OKC. Minnesota needed it. So the question is how good is Minnesota? They're in the Western Conference Finals. They must be pretty good. And the fact that the difference between them and the Knicks lost at home. Minnesota lost at OKC. So we know Minnesota's a good team. We don't know if they can beat them, but we know being down 0-2, it's do or die. They go down 3-0, they have no chance. And they came out and looked like a team. I think it was 20-6 right away. They looked like a team that had to win, and OKC did not play with that enthusiasm. They played at home. And as I've told you, the role players play much better at home. So OKC is getting good efforts from whoever the hell their role players are at home. In Minnesota, their role players don't play, but at Minnesota, the role players play much better. And OKC's role players aren't going to play very good on the road. So I didn't expect that kind of win, but I thought they'd be able to play a good game and get a win, which they did. Game 4, we'll be right back with Minnesota, and we'll pound them in Game 4. And this will go 7 because I think each team holds their home court. But that's okay. So it was a big win. But now you get the logic. The team that has to win. Now, it didn't work with the Knicks in Game 2. They're at home. They have to win Game 2. Now they're down 2-0 going to Indiana, and the best they're going to do is be down 3-1. I mean, I don't think they really, they blew the lead in the first game, so you thought, well, they can match up with them. But then blowing the game in Game 2, Indy's going to kill them in Game 4. But Game 3 is the Knicks do or die, but it was the Knicks do or die Game 2, and they didn't show up. So we do it a lot in football where the team has to win to make the playoffs. NFL playoffs are totally different because it's one game. Both teams are do or die. Both teams have their back against the wall. Then we bet on Mahomes, and we bet on Joe Burrow, and we bet against Lamar in a big game. That's why we don't like Lamar. In a big game, he doesn't show up. That's the point of it. That's why we love Mahomes and Burrow. So that's really the method. That's why we like Montana, Lawrence Taylor. The Steelers, we didn't like Bradshaw, but we like Franco Harris and Lynn Swann and Joe Green and Ham and Lambert. And, go down the list, Mel Blount. I mean, that you'll never see a team like that because they can't afford them all. I mean, look at the Lions. They're paying $20-30 million to tackles. Like, they're out of their minds. Chicago, didn't they pay their guard $20-30 million? Well, you don't have enough money to pay everybody on your team $20 million with the salary cap. So you've got to be very selective what positions you pay it, and you don't piss other people off. I'm making $10 million, and you're paying him $20 million, a guard? No, that doesn't work. So you got to be very careful how to do the salary cap and paying people, and it's all public, which it shouldn't be. And you better pay the right person because the problem is injuries. all these guys are going to get hurt, and it's your backups that win for you. And good luck with that. So anyway, so we did football yesterday. We can review it if you guys like, but I'll update that as we get closer to football season, because with football season, you've got your camps, people get hurt in. You've got your preseason games that the coaches have no balls, won't play their players. What's the point of the preseason game? It's to get you ready for the regular season, and they won't play their players. Week 1 comes and you want them to play the whole game, and they haven't played. That's just a recipe for disaster, which is why all these coaches get fired, because that's 2 or 3 losses they have immediately because they're too scared of playing their players and getting hurt in football. Dude, they're all going to get hurt. You might as well let them get practice and not throw away games 1, 2, and 3. So again, we have to see about who's Aaron Rodgers going to? Pittsburgh, Minnesota. He still could go to Minnesota. And it's just things like that. So you're looking at who's the starting quarterback, who's going to start in Cleveland, who's going to start at most of it we know. Oakland we know, Seattle I think we know is Darnell, Tennessee we have no idea. Should not be Cam Ward's not a starter, but okay. But what's he going to do? Run around a little bit? So you're going to play run around ball too? I mean, you got Will Levis. You didn't need to draft Cam Ward if you're just going to have your quarterback run around. So then you got to just watch injuries. They'll happen in the preseason, but you know what? They'll happen in week 1 just the same. So you save the guy, where maybe if you'd have played him in the preseason, he'd be used to getting hit. He wouldn't get hurt in the first game, or all the hamstrings and calves and foot injuries because you didn't play them and they're not ready and they're too tired to go. Then it's different. But anyway, that's football. It's a different animal, and this is why you can't pay your players that much. Because when they get injured, you have no money to play the replacement. So what do? Well, look at the Lions last year. They lost 6, 7, 8 defensive starters, and they had to replace them with guys from the grocery store. What are you doing? So there's no strategy. The GM is really not capable. Drafting a few guys in the first round does not make you a good GM, and paying them does not make you a good GM either. It makes you an idiot. You cannot pay both their tackles $20-30 million. It's not a position you need to pay that. The left tackle, okay. Right tackle, I bet if you looked around the league, nobody's paying the right tackle what the Lions are, which means they don't have the defense. Then they're going to pay an injured player, Hutchinson, $40 million because he's equal to Myles Garrett. Excuse me? In what world is he equal? Myles Garrett hasn't been injured like that, where he broke 2 bones in his leg, and you think he's the same guy as last year? Not at all. I doubt Hutchinson plays before week 8, week 9. Cam Rising couldn't do it. There's no way this guy's going to do it. If he does, he'll re-injure the leg. I don't care what kind of condition you're in, but, I broke my ankle when I was 18, and it's still, you still got to be careful with it. But to play football after breaking 2 bones in your leg, after this happened in October, surgery's then, rehab starts November, December, you're not ready till probably at least November. So who are you kidding? The doctors cleared him to what? Run? Not to play football. So big mistake here. If you're going to pay this guy, I would say I'll give you 20. And if you prove yourself, I'll add 20 to it. And why do they have to pay $40 million? Why do they have to pay what Myles Garrett gets? I can never understand this. Well, Myles Garrett got 40, you got to get paid more. Why? Are you better than Myles Garrett? In your dreams, you're not better than him. Well, you had 6 sacks in 5 games. Yeah, against backup linemen, against which teams? So where were you in the big game? Where were you against the Niners? Yeah, you didn't show up. Where were you against, teams A, B, and C? So let's see you. It's a hard schedule this year. He'll probably miss most of the year because it's a tough schedule. He'll look bad. He's not going to get sacks on Baltimore. He's not going to get sacks on Buffalo, Philadelphia. But they're going to run Barkley down his throat. He's not going to, Then you got to see what he's made out of against Philadelphia. As we saw him, no, we didn't see him against Washington, but he's not going to do anything against Daniels. And it just keeps going on. So, I don't get why you can't say, I'll give you $20 million. And he says, no. Well, tough. You're on my team. I have your contract. So I guess I'll just keep your contract for 2 more years. And you can go get injured again and go play for somebody else. That's what I don't understand by the owners, why they can't feel that, I'm going to negotiate. I'm only going to give you $20 million. That's football. That's all you're worth. And if you get 10 sacks, I'll give you a bonus. And, if we make the playoffs, you get a bonus. That's what I would do. I'd do it in an incentive, and I would never guarantee the money because they get hurt. That's all they do. And then you're fucked because you don't have the money to pay other players. So I would do it more on incentives, and then I could get more players. And when my guys get injured, then we're going to cry. Oh, yeah, if everybody wasn't injured, we'd have beat Washington. You were never beating Washington with your game plan because Jared Goff is your little problem. He's your problem, and you don't understand that. Why do you think he's any good? Why do you think the Rams let him go? I deal in critical thinking a lot, and it's like, what's obvious? Oh, the BRICS banks are buying gold. Maybe that's a good thing to buy. Even if I think so on before they bought gold, still, if they are buying gold, maybe I should buy gold and silver. If, what was my initial thought? Was it football? Anyway, if just because everybody else is paying them guaranteed, I'm not going to pay them guaranteed money. I'm not going to follow the leader. I'm going to stay stoic. So I believe that just because Myles Garrett makes $40 million, that I have to pay my guy $40 million. Hey, if you wanted to overpay for Myles Garrett, that's fine, but I'm not going to do that. You want to go play somewhere else? Go ahead. I can replace you just like that. So everybody they have is replaced. Oh, I was talking about Jared Goff. So BRICS with the gold, the BRICS central banks. With Jared Goff, if Sean McVay was such a great mind, which he is, lets you go, what does that tell you? It tells you he's not good. If he was good, Sean McVay would never have let him go, right? So that's what you really have to understand. If Sean McVay thinks he's bad, oh, you think he's good? Even a minor league quarterback would look good in the Lions offense because they got a line, they got balance with running and passing. Then all you got to do is count the defensive line, how many in the box, and that's going to tell you what play you run. And you got a fast receiver, and you got a possession receiver, and you got a tight end, and you can't cover them all. So all you got to do is figure out where to do it. However, once you get into the playoffs, he chokes. He choked for McVay in the Super Bowl. They got a whole 3 points on New England because he wasn't even part of the offense. They were running not Chubb, but the other guy from Georgia. I can't think of his name, but it was a run team play action, right? We're going to run our guy, our stud from Georgia, and then we'll play action. And that was what he did at the Rams. He never really ran an offense. When he had to run an offense, or Todd Gurley, that's who it was. So it was just hand the ball to Todd Gurley 30 times a game and then occasionally play action pass off of it. Never just drop back and throw. Never win a game for them. It was Todd Gurley winning the games. So now McVay says, okay, you got to win it. Todd Gurley, I think, hurt his knee and he couldn't, right? That's why they traded him. So if McVay's trading them, why do you think he's good? If all the central banks are buying gold and silver, you buy gold and silver. Just follow what they're doing. And I hate when people say, well, they're the smartest guys. And, this Andy Scheckman has a way of glorifying these idiots. Oh, they're the smartest guys in the world. Bullshit. You're just an idiot. And you think anybody that has a brain's the smartest guy in the world. So it's hard to watch Andy Scheckman because he'll put a title out there and he never talks about it. Buy an ounce of silver and you get rich. In what world are you going to get rich with an ounce of silver? Or a gram? I don't even know how much a gram. I can't speak English. He's fucking from America. You can't say a pound, an ounce, 10 ounces, 20 ounces. Fucking idiot. But this is the thing. So if everybody's saying to buy gold, but you got to be careful who you're listening to. But if the central banks are buying gold, you buy gold. One guy said Warren Buffett had two tons of gold, and I vehemently disagree. Warren Buffett doesn't have any gold. He totally doesn't understand it. He had a silver in an ETF, which he sold. But when I checked physical gold by Warren Buffett, he doesn't have any. He doesn't like gold. He thinks gold's, a paperweight. So don't tell me Warren Buffett has gold. All right. So again, if Jared Goff was that good, Sean McVay wouldn't have let him go. He was a much better offensive coordinator. And it's the same thing with Caleb. He's playing for Lincoln Riley, probably one of the smartest offensive coordinators in college football. Not a very good head coach. Has no defense, but he knows how to call a game offensively. And if Caleb couldn't do anything with him, what's he going to do in the NFL? Nothing, because it gets harder. The NFL, I don't know how these general managers are employed. Well, he's athletic. Anthony Richardson, well, he's athletic. He's not a quarterback. You're drafting a quarterback. He's got to be able to throw to your receivers. He's got to be able to read coverages. He can't do it. He didn't do it at Florida, but he's athletic. But that's not what the qualification for being a quarterback is. Joe Namath played very good with one knee. He wasn't athletic, but he could throw the ball and he could read coverages. He threw a lot of interceptions, but he won a Super Bowl. Thankfully, it was fixed. Johnny Unitas, hardly athletic. Bart Starr, hardly athletic. You can just go down the list. Ken Stabler. Roger Staubach could run a little bit, but he was more faking you out. But he could throw the ball. And then you just get into Montana and you get into look at the Giants one with Phil Simms, who wasn't athletic. It was a terrible quarterback, but it was like just let Lawrence Taylor rest. Lawrence Taylor would win the games for him. And then Brady comes in, not athletic. You don't need to be athletic, and I don't know where these GMs think that's it. Oh, it must be analytics. He's fast. But that doesn't get you. It's like NBA where everybody shoots 3-point shots. Wilt, Kareem, they lived in the paint and scored, Wilt got 100 points, all of them in close. He didn't need a 3-point shot. So analytics comes out and says, hey, it's 3-point, shoot 3 points, they're worth more. Really, but the percentage is maybe 10%, and you'll go games where you're 20 out of 60. So you're wasting 60% per 60 possessions on 3-point shots? Really? Okay. And did you win the game? No. Oh, okay. So you have that, and then you have like football, you got to go on 4th down and go for 2, and the coaches are unable to think for themselves, and that's crazy. But anyway, in football, the quarterback has to be able to read a defense and throw. and have a good arm, but be smart. Know where he's going with it and be able to get it to the guy as he's open. Montana did that the best. You hit him on the numbers and you hit him on the break. And that's what's so good about Bill Walsh. Take 3 steps back, the guy will be wide open because he's breaking. The defense isn't there yet. It was all a timing offense. It was beautiful, but nobody else is smart enough to do that. So now you have, watch Cam Ward try to run around. Caleb try to run. Like I said with Caleb, if he couldn't throw with Lincoln Riley, then he's not going to do well in the pros. That's all it is. But you can see, as I said, Jalen Daniels, he had Brian Kelly, which is a good offensive coach, and he put up 50 points a game. Now, he could run, but he could throw and hit you on the numbers and stride. That's what Hendon Hooker can do, but the Lions are too stupid to go to him. Then you've got Penix, who's a pinpoint passer, great passer. Who cares if he's mobile? He hits you right in the numbers, 40 yards downfield. He's a great passer. And Bo Nix, excellent passer, and he can run a little bit, but he's primarily a passer. Watch Denver get a lot better this year when they give them some receivers. But then you got the guy in New England, Drake May. He's not a good passer. Okay, he's an athlete, and he's a runner. Put him at wide receiver. These guys that can run should be wide receivers. They shouldn't be quarterbacks. Because at the end of the day, the defense can blitz you, and then you can't read a defense. You're going to throw interceptions. This is what happens. And look at it against Philadelphia. Mahomes threw 2 or 3 interceptions, a pick 6 in a Super Bowl, which he never does, but because they put pressure on him. And see, you can put pressure, you're dead. Now, Mahomes isn't a run threat. He kind of goes back, and he wants to throw the ball. But Lamar's a run threat. I would just blitz him every day, every down. I would just put 6 men in and just go after him and sack him 52 times. I think Miami did that to him. They shut him out. Miami just blitzed every play, and he can't read. He got sacked. It was like a 10-0 game or something in Baltimore. They couldn't even get a first down because Lamar can't read. So he just go back, and he's trying to juke and run, and they're all over him. And that's how you beat them. You just put pressure on them. Anyway, so we'll see what the training camp. Hey, Prophet, happy Sunday to you. Happy Memorial Day. Well, you Canadians did it last week, I think, Memorial Day. I know Russia early May had victory over Germany Day. May Day, they call it. Well, ours is Memorial Day, but it's more for all the soldiers in these pointless wars. All right, so let's look at baseball yesterday. I had a very good day. We start off with Boston over 9, and Boston wins 6-5 in 10 innings. We have Minnesota beating KC, which I don't know if they changed pitchers on me or not. The winner was 4-0 with the 1.78, but he wasn't the initial starting pitcher. So I lost with KC. St. Louis under 7.5, 6-5 game. Again, the starting pitchers had low ERAs, so you get a 6-5 game. It's called Victoria Day here. Okay. Yeah, everybody's got their own name. Pitt over 8, 2-1 game. Even with these bad pitchers, Tyler Alexander for Milwaukee, 5 ERA gives up 2. Chase Sugar with a 3.6 ERA gives up 1 run. So, go figure. Washington under 8.5. Washington wins 3-0 over the 49ers. The Yankees, that was my lock, 13-1, and the over 10.5. So I double hit it. Max Fried, 7-0 with the 1.29. It's exactly what I thought. They're not going to hit Max Fried, but the Yankees are going to kill this Kyle Freeland, and it's at Colorado. So that was a double, but usually the big play was the Yankees. Seattle and Houston. I had Seattle under 7.5. Houston wins 2-1. Ric Flair takes the loss. Brian Wu 5-2 with the 2.40, but he's good for an under game. They can't hit him. Valdez 4-4 with the 3.39. So that was a beauty under. Cincinnati under 9. It ended 6-4. Colin Ray with the Cubs and Abbott 4-0 with the 1.7. Should have been a low scoring game. Colin Ray with the 3 ERA, and he's given up 6 to the Reds. So that we just missed on. Atlanta, San Diego. I have San Diego under 9. Atlanta wins 7-1. So it's an 8. That's a winner. We've got Texas and the White Sox. All of a sudden, the White Sox, they have no hitting. They win 10-5. I don't know what to say about that. The White Sox have 2 hitters on their team. Baltimore, Boston in game 2. I didn't play because I didn't have pitching, and Baltimore wins 2-1. Tampa Bay and Toronto, I have over 9, and it goes 3-1. Tampa Bay wins 3-1. Both pitchers with a 4.5 ERA, but it's 3-1. So, okay. The Mets and the Dodgers, I played the Dodgers, and that's a loser. The Mets win 5-2. David Peterson now with a 2.79 ERA. I just took the Dodgers because they were the dog. Detroit and Cleveland. I finally hit a Detroit game. I have Detroit over 8, and it was 3-3. It was actually the game of the week, so I'm watching it because I don't even know what any of the Tigers look like or play like. And Cleveland has this great hitter, Ramirez, superstar, and he ties the game in the 8th. They should have scored more, and then we go into overtime 3-3. So I know I got 7, and they start with the runner at second. So Cleveland quickly goes up 4-3, and then goes up 5-3, and then goes up 7-3, and we've got our W at 10. Detroit scores their 2 runs. Detroit's hard to get out. Like in the bottom of the 9th, they're down 3. They'll score 2 runs. If they're down here, they were down 4 runs in the bottom of the 10th, and they get 2 runs. They just know how to do it. But I'll tell you, the Cleveland pitching is incredible. And then it really showed how bad the Tigers really are. Against real good pitching, nothing. Riley Green, they're all-star swinging it. It wasn't even close. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3, strikeout. These other guys just, when they face a good pitcher, they are not good. See, they're hiding them because the lefty will face the righty, and the righties only face the lefties. And so it's not really, it's deceiving that they're hitting 280. They're hitting 280. So if it's a right-handed batter, he's hitting 280 against the lefty, but not against the righty. So it's not a true 280. You got to hit against both sides, and they don't. So they always pinch hit, but their pinch hitters are nothing. So it's really very, very strange that it's all like fake. The Tigers really aren't that good. Profit, Detroit under 7 looks good today. Why are they playing early? Sunday, I guess. We'll take a look. Philadelphia over 9. I see wins 9-6 against Oakland. That's a winner. And then California loses to Miami. I had California there. That's a loser. I want to just check the box score here. Did they, I got to be careful if they change pitchers on us. Well, Cal Control pitched 3 innings, gave up 1 run with the 6.09 ERA. And Soriano gave up 3 runs with his 3 ERA in 4 innings. So here's where you get hit is this Cal Control with a 6 ERA only pitches 3 innings, pitches to 12 batters, gives up the 1 run, and they pull him. And then Junk comes in, pitches 5 innings, gives up 1 run with a 1.80 ERA. So really, you're betting on the 1.80 ERA. And that's, again, this is where we're at in baseball. This is why it's hard to predict, because you're betting on the starter, but it's this guy pitched 5 innings, gave up 6 hits and 1 run, and a 1.80 ERA. Well, had I known it was him, I would have played the game under, but that's not the starter. So you got to be careful with that. So overall in the picks, we hit Boston over 9, 2 units. We hit the Yankees in a lock, 5 units. We hit the Yankees over 2 units. We hit Seattle under 2 units. We lose Cincinnati under, and we lose Cal. We just played Cal because they were playing a 6 ERA guy who only lasted 3 innings. But he only gave up 1 run. So had he pitched longer, we would have scored more runs on him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 2. Okay, I can live with that. Again, don't bet these too seriously. But they are, they're plays based on, we're going against the pitching, sort of like we're going against the defense. So in the pitching, if you got a Verlander going, or this Fried on the Yankees yesterday, with a 1 ERA and he's 6-1, they're not going to touch him, right? You bet Fried every time. You bet Verlander, you bet Scherzer, you bet the stud pitchers. But then, so you're okay. So you're betting defense. They're not going to hit this guy. We'll win the game. But when you get against the weaker pitching, you would like the guy, Cal Quantrill on Miami with the 6 ERA. Oh, well, we're going to hit him. But the managers then pull him after 2 or 3 innings. Wait a minute. We're betting on this guy going 6 innings or going 6, 7 innings with a 6 ERA. And we don't know what bullpen guy they're going to go to. It's all fucked up. I believe it's all like this, so you can't bet on it. Some of these changes with the analytics are to fuck up the betting, because you can't really bet it because, or what makes it hard is you're not, I mean, the Yankees are going to go with Fried 7, 8 innings, but a lot of these, like, Skubal today, right? So we're talking Detroit. So let's look at Detroit today. Jesus, bottom of the 4th, it's 12:30. Well, when did it start? At 10 o'clock in the morning? I mean, yeah, it's on Roku, TV Roku. I don't know. I got Roku. I can check, see if it's on, but I'll go to the cloud and I'll watch it. But yeah, I don't know. Skubal was on the mound. I would have bet it under, obviously, because Skubal, but Cleveland's bullpen they're not hitting the bullpen. So, but I'm noticing Skubal is not as good. He had a good year last year, but not this year. He's giving up a lot of runs. He's not unhittable. Detroit under 7 looks good today. Why are they playing early? Yeah, again, it's just, I guess it's on Roku or Apple or whatever. They're showing it. But they played last night. So, the game lasted till 11 o'clock last night, or 10 something. It was the game of the night. So now they play Saturday night late, and now they got to play Sunday morning at, what did it start, 10, 11 o'clock? I mean, it's 12:30. We're in the bottom of the 4th. But what I'm noticing is you think the Tigers have good hitting, but this is the flaw to my format. The pitching with the low ERA, Fried, and those guys, Brian Wu, Rick Flair, and those guys have low ERAs. So you can say, I know what I got in the pitcher. He'll probably pitch 7 innings. I can probably bet it under, or like I did yesterday, take the Yankees. But when you get these high ERAs or the bullpen days, you really are lost because all of a sudden the bullpen comes in and you don't know what they're going to do. Some are good, some are bad. Although watching Cleveland's bullpen, they're fucking incredible. You got to bet Cleveland under more. They don't have a lot of hitting, but they have that Ramirez guy. and just the bullpen, 7th, 8th, and 9th, is very good. Even their closer's got a 4.45 ERA, and he gave up 2 runs in the 10th, and then he shut down the last 2 guys with strikeouts. So I don't know what happened in to the other guys batting, but he throws it. You don't get pitches right down the middle from the Cleveland guys. So Cleveland's a very strong under team. Detroit's deceiving. They're not that good because their hitters only face left. They got a lot of lefties, and most of the pitchers are righties, so they look better. But as soon as they bring in a big stud lefty, they all hide away, and then they all get pinch hit for. And hardly a strong team. A strong team, Ted Williams wouldn't get pinch hit for. Joe DiMaggio would not get pinch hit for. Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez. You go down the list. Barry Bonds, Bobby would never get pitch hit for. Where the hell are you, Bobby? Jesus Christ! Haven't seen you in a month. Luke, happy Memorial Day to you. Toledo sounds good. Looking forward to it. All right. So, I found out how to put the header picture on my phone. I couldn't figure it out, so I'd go in here and I'd add it, but I didn't have all the pictures like from my Italy trip aren't on my computer because I haven't downloaded them to the computer, but they're on my phone. I got a lot more pictures on my phone, so I somehow stumbled figured out how to edit the header, and then you choose whatever picture, and I got a lot more, and they fit much better. So I was happy I found that. So if you'll notice my other videos, there's a lot more Italy pictures on there, and some other Austria, and just some other pictures that are able to go on there. All right, so 1:35. It's 12:30. We got an hour. We got Milwaukee at Pitt. Milwaukee minus 158.5. Logan Henderson 3-0 with the 1.69. Bailey Falter 3-0, 3-3 with the 3.50. Logan Henderson. Why don't I know this name? Bailey Falter, I know. Logan's because he's only pitched in 3 games. So he just came off the DL April 20th. And he's pitched 6 innings, 5 and 5. He gave up 1 run, 2 runs, and 0. Oakland, Cleveland, and Baltimore. Well, Baltimore can't hit. Oakland hits pretty well in Cleveland, so now at Pitt. So he's going to go 5 and give up 2, which is going to leave your bullpen. And how good is their bullpen? Bailey Falter's pretty good. So I'm going to go under here. I mean, every time I look at Pitt, I just don't see they hit very well. But I'm not going to bet it under 8.5. See, and then this is the game that wins, but then the game I really like and I bet it loses. All right, the 49ers and the Redskins, the 1983 NFC Championship game, the bullshit call on Ronnie Lott. They should have went to another Super Bowl, and that would have been a beautiful Super Bowl. It would have been Frisco and Oakland. So instead Marcus Ellis running wild on Washington, he would not have run wild on Hacksaw Reynolds and the boys from the Niners, and they would not have been able to stop Montana. So that I always wanted to see a 49er Oakland Super Bowl, and they never have them. Fuck. So we got to see Washington get destroyed. The Niners would never get destroyed. You can't really stop the Niners. Even in the game, it was 21-0 Washington. The Niners came back and 21-0. Right, against the good Redskin defense, and then the bullshit call at the end, they kicked a field goal and win. But the Niners got robbed there. The interference on Ronnie Lott was a joke. Anyway, Robbie Ray for the Niners, 6-0 with the 2.67. Michael Soroka, 1-2 with the 5.95. The Niners are 155-8, so we'll go with the Niners today. Again, we're being led into Robbie Ray 6-0, 2.67. What does that mean? He's not going to go 9 innings. If he's on, he'll go 6 or 7 innings, and Washington won't get a lot of hits. If he's not on, they take him out, and then you get the bullpen guy, and you're betting on him instead of Robbie Ray. So this is the fly in the ointment, right, as we would say. This is where it's difficult. You're trying to anticipate 6 innings, 7 innings of Robbie Ray. The Skins don't score. The Niners get 2 or 3, and they win 2 or 3 to nothing. Sonorco 1-2 with the 5. So I got to go with the Niners here. I'm not going to bet them because they haven't been playing well lately, but I do like them. Baltimore at Boston. Boston 130-9. Dean Kremer 3-5 with the 5.50 against Walker Bueller 4-1 with the 4.0. Boston, we're going to go over. Boston over 9. Again, the anticipation is I got 2 lousy pitchers, so they should hit them. And it's in Fenway Park, so they pop up as a home run. And Boston can hit. Baltimore's struggling, but hit a lot yesterday. It was a high-scoring game. So we'll play this for 2 units. Again, we've got weak pitching, but then what happens with the weak pitching, though? Then here comes the reliever in the 3rd or 4th inning. Is he going to shut him out? It seems like they just bring in a guy for an inning or 2. He shuts him out, and then another guy comes in for an inning or 2. So it's not hard to pitch 1 inning. And I think that's the problem. That's why you have 15 guys in your bullpen. So they look better than they are. But when they go bad, then they really fuck up. All right, Toronto at Tampa. Toronto 110, 8.5. Chris Bassett 4-2 with the 2.83. Ryan Papal 2-5 with the 3.99. Hard to just take Toronto with Bassett. He's a good pitcher. We'll go under 8.5 and hope it stays under 8.5. This is an ERA bet. If we look at Let's look at Toronto and Tampa. Toronto's got 7 hitters, or at least the last time, and Tampa's got 4 hitters. So there's, but that's a guy hitting maybe 260, so I include him as a hitter. Then he goes 0 for 8, and now he's hitting 240, and now he's not one of the 7. And this is the ebb and flow because of the batting averages. Now, I would say we're going into June. The batting average should remain pretty consistent. Now, if the guy's hitting 280, he might drop to 270, but he's not going to drop to 230. The guys hitting 180 are going to be hitting 180. They're in big trouble. So we'll see. But basically, Bassett should win the game, but a 3.99 ERA is pretty good, although he's 2-5. So I think Toronto wins it, but we'll go under, even though Toronto's got a lot of hitters. They didn't score yesterday. Again, it just means they have a good batting average. Are they clutch? Did they get RBIs? We almost want to look at RBIs over hitting. I was looking at the Tiger game, and they bring out average home runs and RBIs, and some of these guys are hitting 280 on the Tigers with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs, and you're like, this guy sucks. So they're hitting a lot of little singles, and they're mostly are up there looking for walks. The Spencer Torkelson's the worst. He tries to walk every time up, and he looked at a 2-strike pitch yesterday. It was on the edge, and they called it strike 3. And he's like, dude, you got 2 strikes. You got to swing. You've got to swing anything close to 2 strikes. You can't be looking for walks every time. He wants to be taken as a serious hitter. He's now hitting like 230. He was hitting 300, and the idiots on the radio are, oh, look how good he is. And now he's like hitting 230. And now what are you saying? Yeah, but he's got a lot of home runs. Yeah, with nobody on and in meaningless times. Oh, we lost 4-1. He got a home run. Yeah, great. When you needed him in the 8th or 9th inning, he struck out looking. That's the problem. That's what you can't have. All right, the Cubs at Cincinnati. The Cubbies minus 125-9. Ben Brown 3-3 with a 5.44 for the Cubbies. Nick Lodolo 4-4 with a 3.22. Not bad. Over 9. I'm going to go over 9. The Cubbies over 9. I won't bet it because Lodolo is inconsistent. A lot of hitting on the Cubs, and Cincinnati, again, this is a week old, has 5 hitters, so they could have 4, they could have 6. Should be some runs against Ben Brown, so I'm thinking over 9. We'll see. Seattle and Houston. This was a very low-scoring game. Ric Flair came through for us again on Seattle. Brian Wu. What a name, Brian Wu with Ric Flair going. Seattle 145-8. Luis Castillo for Seattle 4-3 with the 3-2-0. Colton Gordon 0-0 with the 5-5-9. See, I hate betting against Houston. Castillo with the 3-2-0, but this Colton Gordon, you just don't know. I'm going to have to go under here. Seattle under 8. They just play low-scoring games, Seattle, and Houston against this type of pitcher probably won't score a lot. We'll see. KC, Minnesota. What do we have? Minnesota yesterday and KC won. We had KC, Minnesota won. KC had a good pitcher going yesterday. KC minus 102-8. Chris Bubik 5-2 with the 147. Good pitcher. Bailey Overt, good pitcher. We're going under. KC under 8. We'll go 2 units because they don't really hit a lot anyway. 2 units. Texas and the White Sox. We've got Texas minus 128.5. We got Patrick Corbin, 3-3 with the 3-5-9 against Davis Martin, 2-5 with the 3-4-9. This was a very high-scoring game yesterday. These pitchers, 3-5-9, 3-4-9. I don't see where you're going to get a lot of scoring or not. This is where I get in trouble. I go, well, yesterday I scored a lot. I'll play it over. Texas, 5 hitters. The White Sox, I think 1 hitter. White Sox don't have hitting yet. They scored 10 runs yesterday. So go figure that out. That's the problem. The hitter with the guy hitting 170 finds the blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while. The hitter hitting 170 does have a game where he gets 2 or 3 hits, and then he'll go 0 for 4 today. So that's why it's hard to look at the averages matchup. How are the hitters, even though they can't hit, going against Patrick Corbin? How are they gonna hit him? And that's really why it's hard to bet baseball, is the matchup of this pitcher against me. Tomorrow I get this pitcher. Oh, I hit this pitcher really good. I don't hit this pitcher really good. So it becomes a very strong dynamic of who the pitcher is and what lineup you throw up against them. Hopefully guys that can hit the pitcher. And that's where it is. On Cleveland, nobody's hitting Cleveland and Detroit. They're just too good. 8.5. I'm going to go under. Let's go Texas under 8.5. No bet, though. See, there's days when you get a lot of the stars, Skanes pitching and Ric Flair pitching, Verlander pitching. And then you got days like this. I got Corbin and Martin. It's like, yeah, okay. Arizona, St. Louis. St. Louis minus 125, 7.5. Brandon Pfaadt, 7-3, 3.81. Sonny Gray, 5-1, 4.02. That's why it's a 7.5. 2 good pitchers. I'm going to take Arizona as the dog here. Pfaadt's pretty good. Sonny Gray is pretty good. They're both good pitchers. I'm not crazy about 7.5. Arizona can hit. St. Louis could hit. So we'll see. The Yanks in Colorado, again, the Yanks minus 300, but it's different. This is Will Warren, not Max Fried. Max Fried, I'll lay 300. This guy, 275, you got to be kidding. A 4.05 ERA. Antonio Sanzalo, 1-8. So you've got to, again, go big. So we're going to go Yankees over 11, and we'll make it 2 units. I would bet the Yankees. I'm sure they'll win, but Will Warren, who the fuck's that? Let's take a look at Will Warren. 3-2 with the 4.05 from Old Miss. And he's more, I don't know what he is. 5 innings, 4-5, 1 2/3, 5, 3, 4, 7, 5, 5. He's all over the place. 4 runs to Baltimore, 4 runs to Pitt, 5 runs to Tampa, and then he has a few 1-run games. And those are what he pitched an inning. He had 1-run game. A 7-inning game against Oakland, he gave up 1 run. That was his best game. And then he shut out Texas at 5 innings. I don't know. I just think the Yankees are too much in the softball park. So let's go over 11. And that's the only thing we can say is the Yankees will score. And, this guy with a 6.34, okay, maybe he pays 3-4 innings. But then you got the bullpen coming in who aren't very good. Philadelphia and Oakland. Philly minus 160 and 10. Wow. Jesus Luzardo 5-0 with a 195 and Gunnar Hoagland 1-2. Are you kidding me? 5-0 with a 195 and they make the over under 10? All right, we're going Philly under 10. This is 2 units. I mean, this is a joke. Philly. How are you going to get 10 runs in a game where your starting pitcher has a 1.95 ERA? That means Oakland's only maybe going to get 1 run, and Oakland's pitcher's got a 5.06. So Philly's going to bang him pretty good. Hell, and Philly's a 160. We got to bet Philly too. So that's a low thing. So we'll go 2 units on Philly, 2 units on the under 10. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Why is it Philly minus 300 here? 160. All right. Miami at California. California finally lost. Miami gets the win. California minus 120 and 9. Edward Cabrera 0-1 with a 5.50 against Kyle Hendricks 2-5 with a 5.32. We're going to go over in this game. We'll go Cal and we'll go over 9, but I'm not going to bet it. San Diego and Atlanta. Atlanta minus 140 and 8. Dylan Cease. Now he's 1-3 with a 4.50, but his last 5 games he's been about a 1.5 ERA. So keep that in mind. The streak. Atlanta. Spencer Swellenbach 3-3 with the 3.52. Good pitcher. I'm going under this game. San Diego under 8. We'll go 2 units. Because Dylan Cease has been pitching really strong lately. And Atlanta can hit. I mean, they both can hit. They can hit. Will they hit's another story. San Diego's 28 and 22. And Atlanta started off, 2 and 10, is now 25 and 26. They've been red hot. And our last game, the game on tonight on ESPN, the Dodgers and the Mets. Dodgers minus 102. How does that work? Wouldn't the Mets then be a minus 110 or something? 8.5. Landon Knack 2-1 with a 6.17, and Kota Senga 4-3 with a 143. We're on the Mets here. You got to be kidding me. We'll go 2 units. The Dodgers all offense, no defense, no pitching apparently. 2-1 with a 6.17. Let's take a look into this guy, Landon Knack. Never heard of these guys. From Tennessee. He's a volunteer. But he didn't go to Tennessee. He went to East Tennessee State. Couple of 2-inning games, a 4, a 5, a 4, a 5, where he gave up 4 runs, 5 runs, and 2 runs. Arizona and Oakland killed him, 4 and 5 runs. And then he shuts out Miami, Colorado, 2 runs in 4 innings. And Washington, he gives up 5 runs in 2 innings. And he had a 1-hit shutout against the Cubbies. I don't know why he came out. So we should see the Mets with a lot of runs. All right. So that's our last game, the Mets. We'll go 2 units on that. And I see the Tigers now jumped up 5-0 on Cleveland. Let's see what's going on here. All of a sudden, in the bottom of the 4th, they get 5 runs. And then this usually gives you a summary. Well, it's a bad summary. It kind of gives you McKinstry hit a 2-run homer. Toros doubled to left. Ibanez singled to left. And then Ricky Green reached on a throwing error and Ibanda scored all in the fourth inning. So singles and doubles. Anyway, so again, the Tigers have this strange lineup, and he's been leading off. Somebody else, he goes to a different lineup. This Malloy is hitting 205. What are you playing this guy for? And how do you have this guy McKinstry as a shortstop and then switches to right field? I mean, what is that? You can't do that. That's not what you do. That's really stupid. Pitching, Logan Allen gave up 5 runs, pitched 3 2/3 with the 4.31 ERA. Scooble's still on the mound. Looks like he's got a no-hitter going. 47 pitches in 4 innings and a no-hitter. Now, you watched. He won't pitch the whole game because he's already got 48 pitches in 4 1/3. So we will see. So this is the problem with the Tigers. You never know what you're going to get. I agree with Prophet. I would have played that under. It's 5-0 in the fifth. They'll probably score 8 or 9 runs in the game, which you couldn't have predicted. Cleveland, they're up batting now in the top of the fifth. So School's got a no-hitter. And this is the problem with baseball. They won't let him pitch the whole game. How he's got a no-hitter against this Cleveland team, they only had a few good batters, but they did hit the ball in the late innings. They were like being patient and just hitting it the other way. So Cleveland will get some runs. Scooble, like I say, I mean, oh, wait, it's the 7th inning. You got a no-hitter. We'll have to take you out. Why? Why do you have to take him out? The guy can't throw 130 pitches? That's a problem. That's analytics, and that's what's fucking the game up. He's got a no-hitter going. He should be in until he gives up a hit, period. Oh, no, we got to get him out. We got to take him out. All right. NBA today. Now, this still could be under. Again, they're the home team, so they won't bat in the bottom of the 9th, and Cleveland's getting no hit, so you're not going to get help from them. All right, so let's look. Minnesota, 143, Oklahoma, 101. We were getting 2.5. What a beautiful play that was. And we'll be back at Minnesota the next game. See, because now Oklahoma, their confidence goes away. Minnesota goes, we can beat them, and they're at home, and they have to win, or they're down 3-1 going back to OKC. So love Minnesota in the next game. The Knicks and Indy, Indy leads the series 2-0. Now at home, all they have to do is split at home and go up 3-1, and it's all over. Indy's minus 1.5, 223. In my world, New York had a must-win game in game 2, and they lost at home. I like Indy here, laying 1.5. There's no reason they shouldn't keep going. Why it's on TNT and nobody can watch it, I have no idea. This is what's so stupid about the league. I don't have TNT. It's not in my cable. I can add it if my cable carries it, like ESPN, but I can't add it. They don't carry it. That's the problem with Spectrum, or Spectre, as I like to call them. So I like Indy here, minus 1.5. The Knicks will play. We saw them play. Indy doesn't need to win, but they're playing with good confidence. They can lose and be 2-1. New York has to win, or it's 3-0 and it's over. But they had to win game 2, and they couldn't win at home. It's a lot harder to win on the road because your role players don't play well, and their role players play well. So I just don't see Indy. Indy seems to be really playing well. I like Indy minus only 1.5. The spread should be 6. I don't know why it's such a small spread, but take Indy over New York. Not a lock, not like yesterday's was a lock with Minnesota. And tomorrow we want to load up on Minnesota. That should be a good game because now they see, hey, we can beat them. And the role players play better at home, and that's the key. So there you go. Let's look at the NFL. Anything happening there? Let's see. Any news? Four first-year NFL defensive coordinators. Big mistake. Browns coach Stefanski likes what he sees from Prime Jr. Really? We're going there? Anything he says about Prime Jr., forget Dylan Gabriel. We drafted ahead. I don't know. We'll be betting heavily against Prime Jr. if he's actually the quarterback. Drake May, Steelers willing to wait a little longer for Aaron Rodgers. Well, they have nobody else, and it's Will Howard who should watch this year. Aiden Hutchinson fully cleared for activities. That doesn't mean football. It just means that Cam Rising was cleared to practice also, and he never got in there. We kept going. Is he playing this week? He's playing, and he was never playing that year. So Hutchinson's cleared for practice. Doesn't mean he's cleared for the game. Peyton Manning, heartbroken, his Colts NFL family expressed grief. Oh, about the owner? Who cares? Yeah, really nothing going on in the NFL. Canada joins China, as we know. Farm exports crashed 94%. China no longer buying our soybeans and stuff. China deadly silence, emptying after that. The guy thinking, this is pre-COVID.
$85. That's how much money I'm saving each month since ditching my dog's Apoquel prescription to the
are the customers. Skyrocketing living costs in megacities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen have forced migrant workers to return to their hometowns or relocate to smaller cities. A Beijing resident, Mr. Chen, told Radio Free Asia, Beijing used to be packed. Now many places are closed, deserted, and landlords can't find tenants. But rural areas offer no refuge. Videos from Hunan and northeastern China show abandoned villages with empty homes and only a few elderly residents left. A blogger described, Saimengshan village is huge, but all you hear is birdsong. It feels like the end of the world. 3. The CCP's cover-up and the real population decline. Doubts about the CCP's official population figures are growing. A TikTok user citing police system data claimed China's registered population is only around 760 million, while NetEase reported 770 million citizens with ID cards. Newborn registrations in 2025 totaled 8.9 million, 1.7 million less than the National Bureau of Statistics figures. The AI model Grok 3 estimates China's population dropped by 152 million from 2020 to 2023, and commentator Shang Tian asserted, the CCP fakes data to hide the truth. This decline stems not only from the pandemic, but also from plunging birth rates and emigration. Marriage and childbirth rates have plummeted, with many young people embracing lying flat, abandoning ambition for a minimalist life. A Shanghai netizen commented, no one's getting married, having kids, or buying homes. People woke up overnight. The CCP is believed to be concealing the scale of the population drop to prevent social unrest, but the emptiness of streets and villages is exposing the reality.
So it just said 20 to 23. You still think this video is COVID time? And they're saying 20 to 23. So this is where Be Stoic what I mean is we're going to say we know to buy gold. We know buy Rolexes. We know to buy our cards. What did I bring out? I got Bobby and I got Brady. So we know to do this. We know to buy assets, right? This is what you need to do. Buy assets. Maybe not cards, Rolexes, something with a value that will hold while the dollar collapses. But you need to stay stoic because you're going to say the dollar's collapsing and nobody's going to believe you. Bobby sits there and tells his daughter about gold or silver, and they all look at him like he's crazy. He's got to stay stoic. He's got to say, but that's the right thing to do because the dollar's going out, but nobody will believe you. Nobody, because the news will not say the dollar's going out because there could be panic, but that's the truth. And so this is where you got to stay stoic. And when you get vampired the way I got vampired, when are you selling your gold? And the guy thinks I'm bullshitting. I took offense to that. I won't talk to this guy again. If he comes up to me, I'm going to say, no, I'm not as smart as you, I guess. So not a lot to talk to you about. But that's how you stoic him. You just don't convert with them. Once you meet a vampire, you just ignore him. There's no good that can come out of it. If I say today's Sunday, he said, no, it's Monday. That's about the size of it. So again, we know gold's the only out. It's the only lifeboat off the Titanic. It's the only lifeboat off of the dollar. The dollar's collapsed. No, it hasn't. How can the dollar collapse? We got the reserve currency. They can just keep printing it and printing. Yes, they can keep printing it, but the value of the dollar that they're printing is worthless. You got a $37 trillion debt. Nobody wants to acknowledge that. You've got people panicking, getting out of the T-bills and buying gold with it, mostly China, Japan, and they don't want to admit that. They don't understand it. And you can try explaining to them, but they won't get it because who are you? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. So you basically are dealing with communists and socialists and Keynesians, which is the same thing. They want government to control. They don't want to work. They want government to give them handouts. So you have to stay stoic. We know we're right. It's not maybe we're right. It's not an opinion. These are not opinions. Then I looked up on the Roman Empire the other day, and I'll show you. And where is it? Is it not here? Maybe a little further up. All right. So this is pretty clear. The Roman Empire, 250 BC to 500 AD. That's pretty fucking clear. And then the medieval came in 500. So that's 750 years, if my math's right? 250 to 500, the Roman Empire. He's trying to say it's 1700 years. The Ottomans went to Russia or whatever bullshit he's talking about. And I go, no, I knew it was 250 BC and I thought it was 400 AD. No, I'm sure of it. Oh, where did you get your information? Well, from my master's class, my teacher who was very good. And I don't think he's just making things up. He actually knows what he's talking about. So again, he says 1700 years. I'm saying, this is 700. It's about 700. It ended like in 480 AD, something like that. Yeah, it fell in 476. So Constantine the Great moved the capital to Constantinople. He issued gold, took them off price controls near the west. Then the east fell in 476. Big government kills the economy. Empire is a welfare state. We have an empire. We have big government. It can't win because it gets too expensive because the government doesn't produce revenue. So imagine if you just made Canadian Club, but you never sold it. So that's the government. You're making and making and making, but not selling. Well, where do you get the money to make it? Out of thin air? Oh, we'll print money to make it. But at the end of the day, it's got to produce revenue, and the government doesn't produce revenue. What revenue does it produce? So that's the problem with big government. So then you end up printing, and then you issue T-bills, which then you can't pay off because we're 37 trillion in debt and our money's inflated because you can't just keep printing and printing. It's all very logical. It makes perfect sense. And that's why you buy gold. You can't print gold. So he keeps asking, when am I going to sell gold and why do I want to keep it? And I'm like, well, why do I want to get back in fiat currency? I see that's the problem. If we sell our gold, we're back into this, or we're back into this, or profits in Canadian money. This is the problem. You don't want to get back into this. You're getting out of this into gold. That's what the central banks are doing. So as I said, if we just are clueless, but we see the central banks and BRICS and all of them in Europe and Asia buying gold, let's buy gold because the central banks are. I don't know anything, but I think the central banks would know enough to get out of US dollars and buy gold. They must do that. So it's very easy. So you have to stay stoic because people are going to challenge you, and they don't really want to challenge you for you to teach them. Here, we're all here to learn. This is a class. I'm teaching you. You're learning. In the locker room or in the hot tub, and you're talking, they don't want you to teach them. Even though they might ask for it, they're not really going to be open-minded and listen and go, oh, that makes sense. They're going to fight you because you're smarter than they are, and they are intimidated by that. And they go, oh, wait, you can't be smarter than me. And so that's the point. You've got to be very you got to just stay stoic. You don't really even want to have a discussion on that. Go talk football or baseball or something. It's very hard to talk economics with people that don't know what they're talking about. They do not want to believe you. So that's the bottom line there. So instead of getting frustrated or vampired, because I was exhausted after this conversation, you went all over the place, inflation and the Roman Empire, because I brought up the Roman Empire. Well, how do you think that collapsed? Because of inflation. And that's when he said, oh, it lasted 1,700 years. No, it lasted, what? This is 750 years, roughly about 700 years. And it was big government and inflation and the welfare state where you're giving handouts to the people. And eventually you can't afford it anymore. So where are we? Welfare. Now, Social Security is not welfare. I paid into it. I want to get my money out, although I got to pay tax on it. It's so ridiculous. And then we buy gold and silver because they're printing the dollar to death, because you can't just keep printing the dollar and think it won't lose its value. Remember what Germany was trying to do to London, to England in the World War II. Germany had these Jews in a concentration camp coming up with British pounds, and they were counterfeiting them. So they had one, and then they reproduced it, and it was better than the British pound, and you couldn't tell. And so instead of dumping it on England, well, why would they dump it? Because it would make it worthless, and then they couldn't afford stuff for the war. But instead of doing that, they just said, screw it, this is so good, we'll just use it as British pounds. And then they started using it and buying things with the British pounds because the Germans had no money. Their money got killed in 1923. Even though they replaced it, it wasn't backed by gold, and it went out. And that's why Hitler went and got all the gold, because he knew that was valuable. He was smart enough to understand gold, or his team was smart enough to understand gold. I doubt Hitler, but I mean his finance guy. And they had all the gold in the mines to hide it. So they knew gold was power, but they also knew with the British pound, if they printed it and dumped it in England, in London, it would wipe out the value. Oh, so if you print a lot, it's worthless. Oh, what are we doing? We're printing a lot, and it's worthless. That's why we have a $37 trillion debt. You can't pay it off. You can't print 37 trillion and pay it off. Not going to happen, because it's worth less and less and less. And that's really the problem. So You have to stay stoic when you're talking to people. Do you own gold? No, I own stock. Because what you're telling the person who's got 500,000 in stock is it doesn't have a value, and they're not going to believe you. They're not going to believe you out of fear. In other words, oh my God, it's worthless. I'm broke. Nobody will believe it. They're going to say, no, I got 500,000 and it's never been a problem. And it's always it never lost its value. And that's when you bring up Rome, but they don't want to hear it because they're insecure about it because they really don't know how it works. And then they think, well, I got 500,000. It's like, let's say the Bobby Orr card's worth 100,000. Let's say it's a 10, it's worth 100 grand. I don't know. I can't find a PSA 10 Bobby Orr. I'm sure it's worth a lot. But let's say it's 100 grand. Let's say it's a 10. And could be, maybe it's a 9. Oh, you're telling me this is worthless? No. It says it's worth 100,000. What do you mean it's worthless? How can it be worthless? It's going on eBay for 100 grand. And that's what you're getting into. How could I accept it's worthless when I can see it is 100 grand? Right? So because of that, you really can't. How do you tell somebody this has no value? And yet I know it has no value in dollars, but it will have value in gold. As I said, Prophet wants this card and he's got gold. Okay, we can talk. I can sell you this card for a couple ounces of gold. And he will do it because he wants the card, but he's got money to pay for it. So the money is being shifted from this crap into a gold backed currency. You don't need to have the physical gold once they come out with the money. You do need the physical gold and not the ETF or the stocks before everything, when everything crashes and all the paper's worthless. That's why you want physical gold. But your things, your house and your car will get priced in gold. But the dollar basically is worthless. And talking to the vampire, I said, well, the dollar is worth it. He says, what do you mean it has no value? I says, $100 bill is worth $1 and $1 is worth a penny. That's what they're worth. Oh, what do you mean? That's crazy. Have you been to the grocery store lately? You're paying $20 for a steak. You're paying $5 for tuna. You're paying $7 for Lucky Charms and Oreos. You tell me. Every price is up. Why? It's because the dollar is worth less. It takes more dollars to buy these things. The popular things are more expensive, and yet he won't believe it. See, we've got like I don't know what you call it. We have the key that opens the door. We've seen the door. Most people don't have the key, so they don't understand it and they can't understand it. But we can't explain it to them. We can explain it to a few who want to understand what is the key open and what's inside the room. There's a few people like that, but he called me a conspiracy theory. So this is what you're dealing with. Oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. And you're like, it's not a conspiracy theory. What's the conspiracy? The dollar's worth of nothing is not a conspiracy. That's reality. That's a fact. All the central banks are buying gold. That's a fact. And, why would I want to get into dollars? And he can't understand why I don't want to sell my gold. And he thinks it's in a bubble. And I go, it's not in a bubble. A bubble is something that's gone up in value more than it's worth. So if this goes to 100,000, it's not in a bubble because we have it. Even my Tom Brady rookie card, this is pretty good. It's $3.99, so it's really limited. But this is very. It's not in a bubble. Stock's in a bubble because they're really not worth 40,000. I got to say hi to Daria. Just a second, everybody. All right, sorry. Daria was in the hospital. She had, I think I showed you I think I showed you what was wrong with her. She had this procedure done. So they took out the red thing there. So it looks like it was over the gum line. Anyway, so she had that. She'll be in the hospital till tomorrow. They did it Friday, and they're just keeping her there over the weekend. Make sure she's okay. She said she's fine, which is good. So just being in the hospital, I don't know if she's trying to sleep, and I don't know if she can eat or just drink soup or something. So anyway, so we know all the things, but it's hard when people tell us against that, right? So we know that gold's the play because you can't print it. We know, like the Brady card, it's only $3.99. You can't. It's very, very limited. Or the Bobby Orr. The reason is if this is a PSA 9 or 10, it's very limited because there's not a lot of these that are in that condition. It's limited. So we want limited. Limited is good. What the government's doing is printing this is they're making it not limited, making it very overproduced. And what happens when it's overproduced? It's worthless. Same thing here. They print the euros to death, the Canadian dollars. And that's why even when you hear that Canada just did something with China, it's still in Canadian dollars, which are still worthless. This is what people can't really grasp is even though you have a deal and you're making a lot of money, the money isn't worth anything. And this is the problem. So that is what you have. And, but people can't comprehend that. So when you talk to a vampire or a communist, and there's a lot of them out there apparently, and a lot of Keynesians out there, they don't get that you can't keep printing money. They don't get, oh, if I print money, it doesn't matter. It's still, I'm printing $100. It's worth $100. Yes, it is. But the $100 is not worth the $100 anymore. It's worth nothing. You can't fill your grocery cart for $100. You fill your grocery cart, it's going to cost you $300-$400, depending on if it's meat and chicken or if it's veggies and toilet paper. But that's what people cannot wrap their hands around. It's not prices going up. It's the dollar losing value. And as we said about inflation, and we will quote it again from my notes, inflation, the definition, increase in the money supply is the cause of the inflation. Decrease in the purchasing power is the effect. And increase in the general price level is the effect. Capital tax in real terms and financial terms is the effect. So it's a tax, it's a transfer of wealth. It increases the price level because it takes more dollars to buy it. So gold was 35 an ounce, and now it's 3,360 an ounce. The ounce of gold still the ounce of gold, but the value of the dollar has dropped. This is what this is what Alligator tries to say. It's not the gold going up, it's the dollar going down. That's what he means. But on one hand, he's right that it takes more dollars to buy it. But on the problem he's drawing is the 3360 is also due to demand for the gold. Anything you have, it's not just the dollar being devalued, because if that was the case, silver would also be a couple thousand an ounce, and it's not. That's the price fixing that we talk about. Is then why if gold's really up because the dollar lost value, then silver would be up, right? So it doesn't make sense. So gold is up because it takes more dollars to buy the gold, but really gold is up because of the demand that the central banks are buying the gold, and India and Russia and China are buying the gold. That's why gold's up. Also, it's a double edge. Yes, the dollar is worth less, driving up the gold, but also the demand for gold from all the central banks and anybody who has half a brain in his head going, I got to get out of the dollars. So anybody who realizes if I keep printing dollars, it becomes oversupplied and there's no value. If you have that, then you also have that would raise the gold price. And why is silver at $33 an ounce? Because it's price fixed. JP Morgan fixing the price, and they can do what they want. But it can't last. That's the problem. They can do it for a while, but they can't keep doing it. And once we get the Basel III in July 1st, then they'll be forced to cover. Right now, they're not forced to cover. So if you take delivery of silver, they don't have to deliver it. July 1st, they will. That's what Basel III, that's why we're all excited for Basel III. It will make them cover. Like gold is Basel III, and look how they have to cover gold, and the price keeps going up. So that's what's going to happen. And I think that's why you see the U.S. trying to buy it. It's to cover these derivatives that people are waiting on their gold. And these people are central banks and China and Russia and India, and you can't fuck around with them. You can fuck around with me and you, but we're not ever buying gold from this comex. We're going to the store and buying gold. I showed you how much gold he had. He had like 3 ounces, 3 half ounces, and 3/4 ounces. And I took one of the 1/4 ounces. I hadn't been there in a while. I was so excited. He says, "Where have you been?" Like, he was worried, like, because I used to go in like at least every other week, but that's when I'm working, and now I'm not, and trying to figure out my credit cards, if I should pay them or not, because soon the bank will go out and that'll be it. Then who am I going to pay back? And the money will go out. So who am I going to pay with the money? So that's really the key to it. What's she saying? Sending to D. All right. So sorry about that. You got to realize it's 8:30 in St. Pete right now. So she'll be going to sleep soon. She should be going home tomorrow. Anyway, but that's the whole key to it. It's very limited. Or comex. I mean, I go to the guy's store. So let me show you what I had at the guy's store. So this was his inventory: 4 ounces, 3 half ounces, and then 2/4 ounces. And he had 3. I took the other one. It was a maple leaf, and then he's got these 3 bars. And I much prefer these. The ounce was 34.75. The half ounce was like 1900, which seems high. And the quarter was 965 US. I got the Canadian for 925, and I really am struggling. Like, why not? Here's all the silver he had. He had some nice silver bullion. This is 35 an ounce. So I was trying to grab 10 of these. You can see he's got some maple leafs in there, Prophet. Nice ones, but no reason for it. If I can, I prefer the gold. I'll get if they have quarter ounce gold, I'll buy that over silver all day long, because gold goes up hundreds of dollars. I mean, it was 2,000, now it's 33.60. Silver was 25, is now 33. It goes up 50, 60 cents a day. Now it is being price fixed, but until July 1st, I don't see it going anywhere. Where gold could be $4,000 next week. But it seems to go up 100 because it's still dumped with paper. And apparently they dumped a lot of paper silver on the market when it went from like 30, as it got to 34, back down to 29. But we know it's just bullshit. And they got to pay for it. Where are they getting the money for it? Very expensive. They don't have that money to use to buy derivatives. They don't make money on them. They're not making a lot of money on the derivatives. They are trying to price fix it. They're trying to scare you not to hold your silver because they want it, right? So if I don't want you to buy Bobby, or, oh, it's only worth $100. Oh, I don't want it. It's not anything. And then the problem is the personalities of the people now. They want quick result. They have no patience. I buy Bitcoin because it goes up to 110. I don't know when I'm going to sell it. I'm not buying it to sell it. I'm buying it because it goes up. I buy it at 100 because it goes to 110. So they make 10 grand on it, but they don't make 10 grand because they don't sell it. Nobody sells it. Nobody knows what to do with it. They're being so misled. It's like Madoff. He never loses. How can that be? Everybody loses. Madoff never loses. People would buy to get the 15% from Madoff. But with gold, it's, in Bitcoin, I mean, nobody sells it. Well, it's going to keep going up. Well, do you know why it goes up? No, but I know it's expensive, so I'm going to keep buying it. Well, that's the trap. It's not really worth that. Plus, it's not real, but people won't understand that either. So when you say this is worthless because they printed 150 trillion of these, it's worthless. They don't understand. When the FX is no longer taken account, they don't understand. When China trades with Brazil with no dollars, and Russia trades with Iran with no dollars, and Russia trades with India, and China trades with India, and they're not using the dollars to do the FX, they don't understand that. And so the dollars come back because we're not using them anymore. And that's inflation, because now there's more dollars that people don't want and can't use. And that's really the problem. So you have all this inflation, and it just makes the dollar worth nothing. And I show you, go to the grocery store and, Lucky Charms, $6, $7 for a box. What, are you kidding me? It's a $2 box. And that's really where you see it. And when you compare inflation, you need to compare it to the 1970s. And if you went to the grocery store in 1971, or let's say 1974, it's probably 89 cents for a box of Lucky Charms. And now it's $7. That's your inflation, right? The house was 25,000, now 450,000. The car that was 2,500 is now 50,000. That's the reality. And it's not because the prices went up. It's not due to productivity. It's due to the dollar being worth nothing. So it's hard to understand why people can't figure that out. I mean, you show them what it costs now. Why do they think the prices went up? So again, you have to be stoic, and you have to be careful who you're talking to. It's very difficult for us to have a conversation with normal people, because normal people are really stupid. And they're closed-minded, and they don't want to hear their stocks are worthless or the money in the bank's worthless. They don't want to hear about inflation. They don't want to hear their house is going to go to zero and their car is going to go to zero, even though we tell them it'll all come out when it goes to a gold-backed currency. But since the U.S. has no gold, they can't go to a gold-backed currency. I don't know what the U.S. is going to be broke. And so us with the gold will be fine, because we'll have things of value. Oh, my Bobby Orr, it's a valuable. These cards are valuable. So these cards will be fine for us. We can sell them for gold. Like you'll give me some gold for the Bobby Orr card. because you like it and you have something, you have money, and I could sell. It would be a fair trade if you sold me, an ounce of gold for the card. I would say fine. No, neither of us know the value, and we don't know if it's a 9 or 10. But if we get it graded and it comes back 10, I might want 2 ounces of gold for it. But I will take gold for the card because it's real money. It's limited. It can't be printed or inflated. Inflation is inflating the supply, not prices. Prices are in effect because the dollar's lost value. So it takes more dollars to buy the same thing. So that's why this maybe went from $10. Maybe in 1997, I bought it. Maybe this was $20. Well, now it's probably 60 or 70 if you can even find a 12-year, which you probably can't because they don't make it every year. So it's not going to be on your grocery shop. But that went up in value because the dollar lost value. See, this is the concept people can't figure out is the dollar loses value. You print the dollar, it loses value. Why is that so hard to understand? I don't really get it, that you can't comprehend that if you have more of something, the value drops. Now, not if you have more gold, the value doesn't drop. But what I'm saying is if you print it. Now, why you think it's in a bubble, I couldn't believe when I heard that gold's in a bubble because it went up. It's going to go down. I go, no, gold's just starting. It's going to go way up because gold, if it's based on demand, it's not a bubble. And if it's been kept down by comex, it's not a bubble because it was kept down. It's not near its real price. So at 3,300, well, you've had comex pushing it down. So really, the real price should probably be about 25,000. But you're not going to bubble gold and silver. You can't. You can bubble stocks by these people buying the stock, pushing it up. That's why stocks are in a bubble, not because the price went up, but because they're pushing it up without demand. The government's just pushing money into, Microsoft, and the price is $400. Well, that's not the real price. Gold, it's not the real price, but the other way, it's not the real price because it's way too low. So once gold goes up, then it'll be its real price. We haven't found gold's real price yet. Like I say, the real price is up here. COMEX is 3,300. What is this price? We have no idea because there's no free market. And in a free market, I sell when you buy, but that's not what's happening. Nobody's selling, nobody's buying. They're doing it on options. So we don't know what this price is, but we know it's a lot higher. So to call it a bubble just shows you he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's trying to irk me into, oh, you have gold. Oh, you're smart. You bought gold. You should sell it. Like, what am I, a fucking idiot? Why would I sell my gold? It's nowhere near the real price. I keep telling it to Daria and Jenna. I go, I don't want to sell it now because it's only at 3,300. It's going to 33,000. Why would I sell something that, it's like selling the Bobby Orr card for $100? Why would I sell this card for $100? Didn't we see like a PSA 3 or 4 for $2,000? This has got to be a $75,000, $100,000 card. If it's a 10, if it's a 9, about 10 grand. Why would I sell it for $500 when I know it's worth more? Why would I sell my gold at 3,300 when I know it's worth more? Because based on free market, based on demand, based on the central banks, based on the dollar going out and the euro going out, based on all these are in trouble because they've been printed too much. And everybody's going to have to run into gold and silver on the lifeboats because it's the only thing they can run into. So why would I sell my gold at 3,300 just to sell it? I don't want profit taking because there is no profit. If I'm in this is worth nothing. So even if I got $50,000 for my gold, it's worthless. It's in this, it's worthless. Stocks are going to crash. The banks, you'll be lucky if they don't bail you in. The real estate trust will be attack on Wall Street again, and your house is going to go to zero. Anything in dollars goes to zero, but all you need to do is switch it to gold and you're fine. I don't know why it's so hard for these idiots on YouTube to figure that out. oh, it's going to be so bad, and it will be if you're in dollars, but if you get out of dollars, it's not going to be. If you're in gold, it's not. So that's the real point of it, and that's where we're at. So don't get frustrated and panic or get worried about. There'll be a lot of vampires and a lot of communists who don't want us to do well. It's in their nature to, oh, you can't do better than me. You can't tell me mine's worthless. This is what we're dealing with. I don't want to hear my money's worthless. I don't want to hear any of this shit. Right? No, it's not worthless. It's money is still worth. This is still worth $1. Well, we're not saying it's not worth $1. We're just saying you can't buy anything. The value of the dollar is a penny. That's what we're saying. Yeah, this is worth $1, but what's $1 worth? A penny. What's $100 worth? Nothing. It's worth $1. That's the part that they don't hear, and they don't want to hear, and they don't want to know. But they don't want you to get ahead. They don't want you to own gold. So they're going to talk you out of it. Gold's in a bubble. Gold's not real. Gold's this, gold's that. And gold's overvalued. Gold is not overvalued. It's not in a bubble. Just be careful. That's what the vampire, because then you'll be better than them, and they can't handle that. Especially the Keynesians and the communists. They do not. And there's a lot of them. And so you've got to be kind of stoic and just keep to yourself. And, that's why we're safe here. Everybody understands what I'm teaching you, and you agree with it pretty much, except for a couple of Bitcoin guys who want Bitcoin to, oh, I sold it because of you. Okay, fine. At least you made money on it. Or if you didn't buy it, I'm assuming you bought gold and you're making money on gold, and you're going to make a lot more money on gold. So that's the real point, is to be in gold and silver. But people will try to knock you off your perch and say, oh, well, you should sell it now. It's in a bubble. Get out. No, you don't want it. You got to stay stoic. This is the right play. It's going to go way up in value. Silver will be $1,000 an ounce. That's coming, and you've got to just stay focused, stay stoic. Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to listen to you. I know I'm right. It's not like we don't know we're right. It's not like we're guessing or, it's an opinion. This is what's happening. We've seen it, Rome, France, England, Spain. We've seen it every time that this happens. They get rid of their gold, they go to war, and they go out. Why did they go out? They're the reserve currency. Well, because why did England go out? Because they had a war and they couldn't afford it. Even though they were reserve currency, they went out. They had gold, but they had to pay us their gold. So they gave us the gold for the weapons because they had to stop Hitler. I don't know why England keeps getting in these wars that they're really not involved with. But this is what happens. So don't get caught in it. Stay stoic. That's it. Gold, very undervalued. So is silver, because you can't print it. And everybody's got to run to gold, because when the dollar and the euro and the Swiss franc and all of those, British pound, go out, there is only one place to go, and that is in gold. That's it. Not oil. Oil is not a reserve backing. You don't back the dollar with oil. That's just ridiculous. Because you can hold gold, right? It's physical, it's real. You can't hold oil, and you certainly can't hold Bitcoin. So again, when somebody shows me a Bitcoin, I'll believe in it, but it's digital, so it's not real. How can digital be real? I guess is the major question. At what point is this real? This is air. How is it real? How is it a coin? How does it have any value? Well, we're gonna value the air at $100,000. Oh, let me buy some here. Oh, I'm going to buy some here. I mean, this is beyond stupidity. This is the biggest Ponzi scheme I've ever seen. And yet people don't even realize it's a Ponzi scheme. And then here Trump, oh, we're going to be the biggest crypto market in the world. And you're like, it's not real. What are you talking? I'd rather be the biggest gold holder in the world than the biggest crypto. And again, why do all the central banks, China, Russia, buy gold and not Bitcoin? Now, there's a difference between taking Bitcoin and allowing you to use Bitcoin and the actual Bitcoin. So JP Morgan says you can trade in Bitcoin. It doesn't mean that they think Bitcoin's good. It just, it got the value up. Then why'd the value go down? Why did it go up to 111? Because of JP Morgan, and now it's down to 107. Oh, because Larry Fink is doing derivatives and selling it. You watch, it'll be back in the 90s, and you tell me why. Because it's fixed. But people have a hard time comprehending it's fixed. Profit. I still thinking I have to convert one of those gold bars into 1 ounce gold coins. Well, I agree with you. I think because you're going to need walking around money, right? When the Canadian dollar goes out, you're going to need walking around money. And you don't want to sell the whole bar for dollars because you don't want to be in Canadian dollars with, 150,000 Canadian dollars or whatever. Then you're taking risks that you're going to lose the 150,000. Well, what was the point of that? So I agree with you. You're either going to do A or B. You're either going to sell it, let's say you sell it here for 110,000. We go to my guy's store, he gives you 110,000. Now, okay, but now I want to turn it all into 1 ounces. And maybe you buy a few half ounce or quarter ounces, but you basically, maybe you keep 10 grand in cash, and then the other 100 you turn into gold and or silver. That's why maybe you buy $5,000 worth of silver and you get 80,000 in 1 ounces, and then you buy like 5,000 in quarter ounces. That way, you need $1,000. You give them a quarter ounce. You don't necessarily give them the full ounce, because when the full ounce goes to 10, the quarter ounce will be 2,500. So you might want the 2,500. And so that's really where you go with it. That would be my plan. That's basically what I did. I pulled 100 grand and bought gold with it and a little bit of silver. The reason I bought silver is they didn't have any gold. So I said, well, I got to buy something. I got to get out of dollars. And so I did it. And that's why my credit card balances are relatively there. Is I wanted to buy gold at 1,800 before it went up. And I was pretty smart to do that. And, and here's how you look at your credit cards. You go, well, if I owned a house and it was 400,000, I'd owe 400,000, but I pay a monthly mortgage. And that's how you got to look at your credit cards. Well, I'll pay my monthly mortgage on the credit card. Yes, I owe it, but I don't have to pay it all right now. And that really keeps the stress away. Otherwise you get stressed. You're going, shit, I owe 10 grand on a credit card, but you really don't. You really owe the monthly payment and a little bit more because you got to cover interest. So, if your interest is 100, you want to pay 200 on it, right? You want to get it down. But at the end of the day, you can always get it down with selling 1 ounce of gold, and that'll more than cover a whole shitload of credit. But if the dollar's going away, do I need to do anything? Because the credit card will go away because the dollar won't be worth anything. So I won't be able to pay it because there's nothing for me to pay you. And that's really, and it's good to have debt in inflation because we're paying back so let's say I bought 3 gold ounces at 2,000 an ounce. So I used $6,000. Let's say that happened. But I'm paying you back the 6,000 in heavily inflated dollars that are maybe worth 3,000, right? So it's gone from 2,000 to 1,000, the value of the dollar. So when I got the gold for 6,000, It was at 2,000 an ounce. It's now 3,300. But the dollars I'm paying you back, I owe you $6,000 is in inflated dollars. So if I give you 100 now, it's worth a hell of a lot less than the 100 I used for the gold. So it's win-win. Basically, the gold goes up, and what you're paying them is heavily inflated dollars that now take $6 to buy Fruit Loops. So it's really good to have debt. Not too much, but it's fine to pay because you want to pay back in inflated dollars. We know the dollar's not worth as much, so it's okay to pay it back. So that's the thing. So yes, I agree with you, Prophet, and you're welcome to come here. We can walk to my guy's store, and he said he'd take it. Let's see what the Tigers are doing. 5-0 in the top of the ninth, so you're under 7, still good, Prophet. Tarek Stubal, I wonder if they got 2 hits on him. So I'm a little surprised he's still in the game. Skubal gave up 2 hits, and he's at 93 pitches. So they're actually letting him pitch a whole game. There's 2 outs, so let's see if they finish it. But the under is good. We would have taken the under with Skubal and this Cleveland bullpen. That's it. So I think the game is over. So the Tigers won 5-0. But they got 2 hits. So there you go. So you won your under. If I can bring 1 bar there and there's no problem with customs, I may do it sometime this summer. Well, you're coming from Montreal. I think I would just drive it. It's a 6-7 hour drive. I think driving over the border, it's probably easier than flying in where you're going to stand in the line at customs and everything. This is you in your car. You're saying, I'm just visiting my buddy in Detroit. You got anything? You go, no. And I don't really know. And I'm not sure. Let's say you say yes. You have some gold to declare. You got to pay tax on it. I mean, I don't know what happens. But I would just basically say, no, I'm just visiting a friend. And, I doubt people coming over with gold is a normal thing. So I don't think they're looking at firearms, and they're looking more at firearms and drugs than gold. So I don't know. I guess you'd have to Google if I cross the border and I declare gold. First of all, how much would you declare it for? Does it have a value on it? Like if I have a 1 ounce gold coin, it's worth $50. And that's all I would say is, well, it says $50 on it. So, that's what I would declare. No tax, but it has to be declared over 10 grand. Okay, then what happens? So you're declaring it. You're just declaring it to declare it. Well, if there's no tax on it, no problem, then I guess I would declare it. And then if you're going to do that, then I guess you could fly here or you can drive. Flying would be a lot easier. It'd only be a couple hours, and I could get you at the airport. So either way, it's probably that. But yeah, the guy said he'd buy it and he'd give you a check for it. So I guess you'd have to give me the check unless you have a U.S. bank account. Maybe you want to open one up, and then you'll cash it there, and then you'll go back, and then the problem is you'd have to order it. I doubt he would have. Well, let's say it's 5,000 an ounce at that, but then you're going to have $150,000. So you'd be getting 2 is 10. You're only going to get about 25 ounces. But then, oh no, I thought you said it was 88 ounces. So he's not going to have 88 ounces in the store. So you can take it, and then, well, I guess what you would do is give him the money, and then he would order the gold for you. That's what my other friend did. He gave him a check for 100 grand, and he got all the gold. So that's what you would need to do. You should open a U.S. bank account as well. Yeah, 88 ounces. So you'd have to say, can you give me 88 ounces for the bar? And that's up to him. If that's, say, I really want to get ounces for it. So really, you would avoid the check and waiting on the money to clear, and then taking the money out and buying, and then taking a check to him, versus just a trade. I did that. I traded my wedding ring in, and I had a gold bracelet like this, and I traded it for a half ounce. So I just said, well, I'd like to get a half, but he had the half ounce there. So I'm not quite sure. I can ask him. He's closed till Monday. So I could ask him Tuesday, but if you get a check and then you're just going to come back, if you have a checking account, you could write it. I don't have a checking account, so I couldn't write him a check. I'd have to get a cashier's check, which is fine. That's a few dollar cost, and then it's like a certified check that you have the funds. So something like that. Something like that. Yeah. So I think you'd be okay. I mean, you could, at best case, he orders 88 ounces, and then you let him keep the bar. You can trust him, or you go take it to the bank, get the check. But that's the same thing. Then he'd have the cashier's check versus the gold. What's the difference? You got to give him, and then he orders it. So either way, you're giving him before you get it because he doesn't have it. He's not going to order 88 ounces till he sees you with the bar. So he sees, okay, here's the bar. Yep, it's good. Here's the value. Oh, you want 88 ounces? Okay, let me order it for you. So I don't know why the bar wouldn't work, why you'd have to bring in a check, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he wants to do it, but with me there, he'd know it'd be okay because he trusts me. Hell, I've been teaching him everything, so we agree that once silver hits 36, it goes to 100, and that's what you want to get into. You can get into something. You're making you triple your money from 36 to 100 in a blink of an eye. We just got to wait for comex July 1st to let it happen, because they're price fixing it, because the 8 billion banks are going to go broke when silver runs. They're going to have to pay off all these derivatives. All these options will go to zero, and they'll get fucked. And that's why they're fighting against it. And that's what it is. It's not the Chinese price fixing it. Why would the Chinese price fix it so they can buy? But they were just buying the dory because they wanted to buy from the mine and have the silver because they couldn't find it from anywhere else. And again, alligator can't think like that. So it's amazing. Anyway, it might be better if you go in as it's your gold bar on my behalf. That would be fine. I could test it and then tell them I want 88 ounces. That would, that's fine. I don't care. I'll charge you 1 ounce for doing that service. How about that? So you get 87 ounces and I get 1. I got to have some fun. But that's it. So stay stoic. People are not going to want to admit they made mistakes. People do not want to admit that their $1 million in stocks are worthless, that their $1 million in the bank is worthless. They do not want to admit it. And they're going to shoot you down. They're going to say gold's in a bubble. Why are you holding gold? Because they know it's the right play, but they didn't do it. Their money's in stock, or they buy Bitcoin, which is not worth anything, but they'll think it is. See, the problem with Bitcoin is you got to be smart enough to take your profit and sell. But yet, why aren't we taking our profit in gold and selling? Because we know the demand for gold is going up. Bitcoin, you have no idea what the demand is. and it's not real. So there's no reason to sell your gold because gold is going up in value. We can see the central banks buying it, Russia, China, India. Where Bitcoin, we have no idea what it is, what the demand is, and anything like that. So that would be the thing. I gotta thank you, Prophet. I appreciate that. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. My guy's good. I've been working with him for 4 or 5 years. He knows me, trusts me, and again, we would have him look at it, make sure it's real before we do anything. I hope it is. You might want to do that at your guy's store. First thing is take a magnet to them and make sure they don't stick. If they stick, then you got a bigger problem. But if they don't stick, then you got to do another couple of tests and make sure they're real. Again, Egyptian gold. I don't see any Egyptian 1 ounces out there. I do see a Mexican one, a Russian one, a China one, but I don't really see a lot of Egyptian gold ounces out there. So I don't really know what he's got, but that's okay. I think we've seen it on eBay. So just verify it and then we can go from there, but shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, so that's what happens. So be stoic. Do not listen to anybody telling you to sell your gold. They just are jealous that we are smart enough to do it, but there's no profit taking in gold because it's not anywhere near where it needs to go. And why would you profit take it? Where would you go with it? You take your money, into Bitcoin? In the stocks? No. Into the bank? No. You have no other option really but holding it in gold. That's the lifeboat. I can't believe Detroit stayed under 7. Well, Cleveland's got really good pitching, and they weren't. And Skubal, the reason was Skubal pitched the whole game. He didn't go to the bullpen, and that's what the manager needs to do a lot more of. These guys should pitch the whole game. And I don't think he got 100. I think it was like 99, 98 pitches. But yeah, it was just one inning, really. They got 5 runs in one inning, and outside of that, that was it. And that's baseball. It's really hard to score, actually. You can't just assume you're going to score. Anyway, so that's really what it is. So being stoic means you're confident that we know what we're talking about, but you don't need approval from anybody else. You don't need validity from anybody else. So you talk to your girlfriend and say, I love you, because you want the I love you back. You don't need the validation. You'll see it in her eyes or the way she talks to you, her body language. But you don't need that because you don't even need her. You're confident in yourself, and that's really what it is. But it's nice to have a loving girlfriend or wife. So that's where you got to be. So we know we're smart in gold. We know what it is. We know it's the place to be. It's the lifeboat. And again, believe me, if I liked Bitcoin, I would say I like Bitcoin. It's not a coin. It's not real. I mean, I'm telling you to get into this because, so why would I tell you to get into this? Because this is very limited. He's very popular. Or my Brady card. It's Tom Brady. It's very limited. It's a rookie card. So I would tell you to get into that. Or Joe Montana, definitely these are all popular people that have high demand. So therefore when you have gold, when gold's the new money, then people will, it's the same thing now. People will buy and sell and you just use gold instead of, but it'll be gold. This will be like gold back. So this will be a $5 gold. It'll have a gold stripe here instead of a silver. And they'll have some form of gold back. And there'll be a lot less of them and they'll be a lot more valuable because there are a lot less of them and they have actually backed by gold. You cannot, this has no value because it's not backed by anything. It's a piece of paper with a 5 on it. It's not worth anything. That's the biggest thing you got to understand. Now, will it buy groceries in Paris? Yes, only because they got to accept it as money in Europe. Anywhere the euro is, people will accept it. If I go to Ukraine or Russia, they will. I don't know about Russia, but they will accept the euro as payment. So they'll show prices. I did this yesterday. And this was in Lviv or Odessa. And you had this board, and you can see all the currencies, right? US, Euro, Polish, Pound, Swiss, Canadian, Australia, I don't know what SEK, Norway, Denmark, Czechoslovakia, and whatever you bring them is what they'll convert it to. So so you never see this in the US. I'm not sure if you see this in Canada, but this is what you see. Here's Turkey, here's China. So in Ukraine money, I guess, I can't read that. But US, so if I gave them 2,700, they'd give me back 2,730 or something. I know one's the bid and one's the ask. So if I want it, I'll get 27. They'll give me 2,700, but I got to give them 2,730. I think that's what it is. But you can see all this is in the Ukraine, all these different countries, and that's what they do. So that's what happens. So they take the euro, even though it doesn't have a value because it's money, but it just isn't worth anything. So you'll get a cup of tea with the €5. So the prices get adjusted because the dollar loses value or the euro loses value. And that's really what happens. But once then it'll get backed by gold, you'll see all these prices drop. All of a sudden, a gold backed dollar, a cup of tea's 10 cents. Because it's backed by something. So again, these are not worth anything. That's the thing. They're all monopoly money, and that's why they're all crashing. And that's why you need gold, because it can't crash, because you can't print it. That's the very basic lesson that we've got to learn. And that's why it's not anywhere near whatchamacallit. What did he call it? A balloon. Jesus Christ, my mind's going. Yeah, it's not in a bubble balloon. Anyway, gold is not in a bubble, neither is silver, but stocks are, and anything in a bubble. This is in a bubble. They printed way too much, and the US dollar is in a bubble. So a lot of things are in a bubble because the prices have just gotten too high, but gold does not fit in that. But this is what I don't like about the vampires. They're like, well, gold's in a bubble. You don't even know what a bubble is. Gold's in a bubble. Gold, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, it is. Based on what? You don't even know when the Roman Empire ended. So that's why it's hard to talk, because all you're going to do is argue, which we don't want to argue. We're not trying to argue. We're trying to educate. But if you don't want to listen and keep an open mind, there's not a lot I can do for you. Your mind's made up. You're a communist. You're a Keynesian. This is the way you think. You think today's Tuesday, and even though it's Sunday, I can't change it. So basically, that's the biggest problem. So anyway, I think that's about it. So have a great Memorial Day. I should be on tomorrow, although the pool closes early, so I'll probably go early and then maybe come on around this time. But this is my pretty normal time around. Well, today I was on at 11:30. I slept in. I got up and then I went back to sleep, and I woke up. It was like 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh my god. But again, with Daria, it's already 9 o'clock for her. It's 2 o'clock for me. So she showered and she's looking better. Her mouth was swollen here yesterday. Today she looks better. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So good luck on the baseball, basketball. We're taking Indiana. Football, nothing new, but I did post what my thoughts are on week one, the picks. But again, they will change provided Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere, provided injuries happen. Maybe we see we're betting on Coach Pete and Gentry at Oakland. We're already assuming that, so we're going, oh, they're going to be better. They're going to be more of an under team because he loves that hard defense and the running game. So he's all happy with that. And they got Brock Bowers, so look for them to just ball control you and play the tough defense. So they should be an under team, unless Gentry rips off a bunch of touchdowns like Barkley does. Anyway, I think that's about it. So, Prophet, will come on in when you're ready. Well, you got to get the bars first. How is the noise problem now? During the week, it's okay. I got the neighbor next to me, got loud kids. So I sometimes hear them, and the people above me. During the week, they're okay. They're not playing. They're playing occasionally the music, but not too bad. The dog barks still a little bit, which I've complained. Who they don't even have. They're not paying for the dog. But they're they're just not home that much. I hear them a lot, but I'm able to sleep. It seems quiet, when I'm ready to go to sleep, 11ish, 11:30, it quiets down, and the dog and the yelling is pretty much stopped in the middle of the night. So it's getting better. But we'll see. I mean, the people before for the last 2 years, you didn't hear anything. Once in a while, you heard a peep at night, but it was not a consistency. They had a dog, you never heard it bark. They never had loud music, and that's the other problem. The guy plays music, and who listens to music anymore? I mean, don't you have headphones? You just pop it in, or you're on your computer. So I don't know, but during the day it's okay. It's at night, and I've been able to sleep, so it's okay. I still look forward to when gold hits 30,000 an ounce, and I'll go buy a house, or at least a condo. That's why I really hate apartments, all the noise and everything. Where I much prefer a condo. But because I came back from Alabama, I didn't have time to look for a condo. So it was kind of rush. But that's probably the worst thing I did was taking the job in Alabama and then having to move and then move back, and I didn't get all my stuff because they were cheating me. So that's the problem. Like now, I hear the dog barking. I don't mind if it's a little bark. I do mind when it goes on for 20 minutes, and I don't know why the dog barks so much. Very hyper dog, which is really strange. And it's the girlfriend, so why she brings it over, I just don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, that's about it. So let's watch our baseball. We got basketball tonight, and gold will come into play about 6 o'clock. China will buy it. I would assume the U.S. is going to have the day off with Memorial Day. China did that, I think, May 1st. They didn't play, and Canada did it last week. Whatever, they didn't get involved. So I'm thinking the U.S. won't be involved today, which I don't know if it's good or bad. They've been buying, so let's see what China does. China's been shorting a little bit more, which I don't know why. Probably J.P. Morgan influence, but again, they manipulate the price, so it's really not a real price. Anyway, so you're asking, and now I'm hearing the dog bark. So I'll go to the pool, and hopefully they go out to dinner or something. The guy lives there. The girl doesn't live there, but she comes over. And she brings a stupid dog. It's crazy. Anyway, We will see. Fortunately, not working. I don't have to wake up. Then it would be a real problem if I had to get up at 7 o'clock and the dog's barking late. But now, like today, I can just sleep in a little later. Anyway, that's about it. So Daria's had the operation. She's better. And let's go through the baseball picks again. It's 2 o'clock. Most of them are probably gone. Pitt under 8.5. 49ers. Boston over 9. That's 2 units. Toronto under 8.5. Cubbies over 9. Seattle under 8. KC under 8 is 2 units. Texas under 8.5. Arizona, the Yankees over 11 is 2 units. Philly under 10 is 2 units. And Philly, 2 units. California over 9. San Diego under 8, 2 units. And the Mets tonight, 2 units. The Dodger pitcher's not very good. Probably an over game, but I think there was a pretty high number, so I just took the Mets. Even though I hate betting against the Dodgers or Alabama or Georgia or something like that. Anyway, these are very tiny little nothing bets just to have some fun. I'm really trying to figure out baseball. The more I dig into it, the more it's harder because the managers get involved and ruin it, unfortunately. The coaches in football can't ruin it as much because it's Mahomes, it's Burrow, it's Barkley. Those are guys running the game. All right. Well, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy Memorial Day. I will be on tomorrow. Not sure when. Like I said, the pool closes at 1:30, so I got to probably get there by 11-ish, maybe 10:30, and then go swim and then come back. Something like that. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. Take care. And watch Gold tonight. It'll be back.